Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Empire led by Supreme and Volkmar the Grim versus the Beastmen, who are going to be helmed by Na'vi, who also goes by Navigator, of course, in our tournament scene, leading with the Crowfather. So it is going to be Malagor the Dark Omen up in the sky, Zangors to contest State Troopers, Centaurs to be annoying, and Butchers of Kalkengard. A very, very good unit. They've been nerfed a couple times, but still one of the better units on the roster. Very tough to kill. All right, guys, so looking at the State Trooper-based army, it is going to be a hell of a lot of Spearmen. So we do have Spearmen with Great Swords. Great Swords are an interesting tech against Beastmen. Not the worst thing in the world, but Beastmen do have like Razor Gores, Centaurs with Great Weapons, and Minotaurs, which can present some pretty big problems for them. But if they do have Zangors, if they do have Bestigors by chance, and I mean, they will dominate most low-tier Beastmen infantry. So I'm really curious to see how that tech works out for him, having the double greatsword. Huntsmen are very good in this matchup. You would think Huntsmen would be good at hunting beasts, but excellent against Minotaurs, Razor Gores, any of those big, lightly armored targets. And honestly, they do good enough damage against the small stuff as well. It's not as good as like a crossbow or an archer unit in terms of cost effectiveness, but pretty close. Spearmen on the outside and a couple of Pistoliers, which are very good as well. Pistoliers are, I wouldn't say like a counter, but they're like, they trade evenly with like Centaurs. They can kite them. They can do good damage against the light armor of the Beastmen roster. Very, very good piece. I like them. Maybe like a soft counter against Centaurs. Now looking here for the Beastmen, holy shit, he is going to be getting crunk. He's got double Centaur Vanguard, double Zangor Vanguard. One of my favorite tactics with any of the Gore units. Like when I play Nurgle, I love vanguarding Pestigors on the back objective and stealing it. It's really, really fun to do. But yeah, a massive Beastmen Vanguard. Zangors are pretty good. They are silver shielded, so they can take some of the shooting. They do decent damage against State Trooper infantry. For sure will win. And Butchers of Kalkengard to fight the Heavy Cav, and Volkmar, Malagor to spam Flock of Doom. And on the backside, we have Gore Herds and Centaurs grabbing that point. So we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding while the game gets going and develops. Beastmen going to be taking that back objective, so they do manage to get that one, while the Empire's going to be moving to the middle. And now you can see what I'm saying about the Pistoliers. They can kind of drag Centaurs through the mud a little bit, and there is going to be a Melkoth's activated on them, which is very, very good. That's going to do quite a bit of damage. Now the Pistoliers can potentially turn around and do some work. But the Empire definitely needs to get its back objective back quickly. You know, you don't want to be triple cap for that long. They are going to be moving up, and one Centaur unit does get put in the trash can. I really like the tech from Supreme here of bringing the Grey Wizard. I think that's pretty good considering how much Centaurs get spammed and how good Melkoth's is at kind of dictating the pace of a lot of fights. But Zangors are not slouches. They're pretty strong infantry. You're going to need some heavy mustache power back here. You're going to need Volkmar the Grim to roll back here, blasting his Limp Bizkit from whatever speakers they have on here, and get rolling over here on these guys. So there is going to be a banishment cast from Volkmar the Grim. That's going to be a direct hit right there, and that's going to start banishing some of these Tzeentchian monstrosities back to the pits from whence they came. They're, of course, not demons, but the objective does start to flip a little bit, ever so slowly, as Volkmar will be able to counter those units. Now, the rest of the State Trooper-based army going to be advancing up to meet the Beastmen over here towards the objective, while we do see some Centaur pressure coming out. So the Centaur is going to be beelining for the backfield, so one of them is going after the Pistoliers, one of them going here as well, and a nice little Melkoth is going to be softening things up. Volkmar still banishing these Zangors, has done very well, but now the Zangors look like they're going to be moving in, trying to push the State Troopers off, and the Empire is quickly going to find themselves in a situation where they're going to need to get a triple cap, which is not going to be easy because Na'vi is playing a very aggressive playstyle of like trying to force a triple cap, maybe at the cost of some value, right? You can see Supreme is up on value right now, but again, he doesn't have any objectives, so tricky. What would have been a pretty good play, I think, would be to detach some of the Greatswords over here, like send a Greatsword to this objective to try and help. But we do get a little bit of pressure coming in. Centaur is going to be charging into the Huntsman, but the Chad floppy hats of Sigmar do intercept them, but they still take a lot of charge impact damage. Their armor does mitigate some of it, and you know they don't necessarily get massacred like a State Trooper would, but they hold their own. Now, back towards this objective, we do see Volkmar being attacked by the Butchers of Kalkengard. Certainly not a good fight for him. The Butchers of Kalkengard hit very hard. He's a chariot character, so he's pretty much designed to go after infantry. So in this particular case, he's going to be getting circle beaten by these cows pretty damn hard, and not going to be enjoying that, I would imagine. Pushing up, though, are the reinforcements who do get some Empire Knights or Reichsguard Knights, which I actually like. I think Reichsguard Knights are pretty cool. And we do also get another Reichsguard back here, going to be hunting the Centaurs. You know, I kind of like the Reichsguard over the Empire Knight here, and the more I'm seeing it, because they have enough killing power to actually like deal with Centaurs damage-wise. You know, Empire Knights can kind of like stiffly kind of grind against them, but the Reichsguard can actually like endure them and kill them on the charge, of course. So Chadmar the Grim being hunted by the Butchers, popping the Grand Shield of Faith is going to be giving him ward save, and he of course does have that passive regeneration from the Jade Griffin, which is a pretty big regen, 0.20. And on the middle objective, the Sons of Sigmar have now engaged. And they do have the numbers advantage. With the Greatswords as well, they should win a lot of these fights. It is going to take the Greatswords quite some time to chop through this amount of Beastmen, especially with Flock of Doom coming down. The Flock of Doom, very, very nasty spell. But eventually the Greatswords might be able to get it done. We'll have to see, although that 3v2 there does not look good. On the backside, we do see Na'Vi pulling ahead in value a little bit. Reiksguard Knights charging into the Centaurs here as a Sons of Goros come out. So the ROR Centaurs with great weapons are going to be popping out to party as a couple Spearmen move over. And on the backside, one unit of Centaurs does get wiped out. Middle objective starting to flip to the Sons of Sigmar. Greatswords here need to engage a little bit. They're standing idle. So a bit of a blunder there, not the end of the world. But yeah, if the Empire can at least stem the bleeding a little bit, they are down 676 points to 0. So that's a little bit of a tricky one, but they do have a lot of healing. I mean, if Volkmar can survive this and heal up a couple thousand HP and also lure some of the expensive Beastmen to their death, like the Butchers of Kalkengard and all these bad boys, lure them into a bad situation, maybe, you know, the magic can happen. 302 HP, very low. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Malagor dive in there, but if he gets trapped and killed, you know, that could be GG as well. But a lot of the Beastmen value, of course, is tied up in Volkmar, who's over a 2,000 gold character, and the rest of the Empire army is in pretty good shape. I mean, we have a lot of healthy state troopers in the middle. Huntsmen seem to be functional. We got both Huntsmen still online, Pistoliers, and another unit of Empire Knights coming out to run down these Zangors. And yeah, we might actually see the Butchers of Kalkengard get routed off the battlefield. I mean, they're massively surrounded. Chadmar the Grim sitting at 400 HP, still going like an absolute champion. Good Flock of Doom here, though. If you get a big Flock of Doom on this brick, that's going to be uber cost effective. I mean, it will actually hurt Volkmar a little bit too. Pretty funny. Centaur unit getting on top of the Huntsman feels bad for the Empire. Definitely turn these Huntsmen about face. Pistoliers going to be charging in to help, as are the Empire Knights. Middle objective is taken by the Sons of Sigmar, and they have a huge numbers advantage. The two Greatswords there are going to be able to get the job done and chop through those filthy beasts for sure, as Volkmar does use the Soulfire Bombardment, which isn't going to do much of anything against Butchers, but still looks really cool and, you know, gets the troops pumped up. The Empire does have Spearmen support, so they have a lot of Spearmen in here, which is going to help. Normally, the Empire Knights would trade pretty horrifically into the Sons of Goros and Butchers of Kalkengard, but there's fire support too in the back. We do have the Pistoliers still going. We also have the Huntsmen providing a little bit of fire support, you know, although they are kind of tar-pitted here by these Troll Zangors who've been diving into the backfield. Volkmar sitting at 100 HP. He is unbreakable for anybody who's newer. He cannot be broken, so he's an unbreakable character. There are some characters in this game that are like that. Of course, another Spearman unit going to be on its way over. The Empire very close to getting its back objective. If they can at least get a double cap, that's going to give them a lot of time to triple cap the Beastmen. But yeah, the Beastmen not killing Volkmar is tough, right? He is like, I think, 2,300, 2,200, depending on the kit you bring, and then he also heal caps a lot of value too. So the Beastmen probably have like 2,600, 2,700 value tied up in Volkmar, and he's still on the battlefield. He's still being effective to an extent, you know, buffing things. And looks like we are going to be seeing the Butchers of Kalkengard get a fat rear charge from the Knights of Sigmar. So they move in. Lance is couched. We got the State Troopers grinding down these foul beasts. And it looks like the Minotaurs are going to be routed, and they are going to be broken there and have a relatively bad time. So middle objective is going to go to the Empire. They're going to get that one down, and now the Beastmen are making a play for the middle. As it currently stands, the Beastmen can comfortably win on just one objective, but are they going to have enough time? We do see the Empire pull ahead in value right here, as the Sons of Goros trying to make some last-ditch efforts back here. But yeah, Empire's got a lot of mobility. Volkmar is up to 1,000 HP again, and he's going to be able to heal up to probably 2,000 HP and be a big difference maker in some of the fights in the middle. And yeah, the Empire needs to start planning for the back objective, though. Supreme is sitting on 1,600. Now, there are some tactics in domination mode where you want to save your resources and like surprise them. So like you keep fighting in the middle and then you summon like 3 Pistoliers over here and bum rush their back objective, right? And if they're spending their money perpetually, they're not going to be able to match that spend, which is pretty cool. You don't always want to do that. It sometimes can set you behind a little bit because, you know, they're going to get constant reinforcements on the field and you're not. But there are times to do that. And this wouldn't necessarily be a bad time for that. Spearman going to go camp and set on the back objective, while the Pistolier shooting at Malagor the Dark Omen, and Chadmar the Grim enduring absolute beatings this game. You know, if he had died, that maybe could have been a game over. It's hard to say. It would have been really bad. Soulfire Bombardment's going to be going down, so he's going to be dropping some holy fire here on these filthy beasts, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe he popped the Shield of Faith. Yeah, it looks like it was Shield of Faith to give the ward save. He's sitting at 1,700 HP, and the Beastmen trying to get this objective, but it looks like the Empire is going to get the capture weight as their 2 Empire Knights to arrive. And what are we going to be seeing coming out? Ooh, that's a great call. Because Beastmen are just going to be calling out like fast units, and calling out the Royal Altdorf Griffites is so good, man. That's such a good call. So these Glorious Cav going to be moving up, and yeah, that is going to be some trouble when they walk in. So moving over to the middle fight, they do cause terror as well. Volkmar causes terror, and Pistolier is going to be running to the back objective. Spearmen holding there. Beastmen do call out. Minotaurs with great weapons, which are a very strong unit, but the Royal Altdorf Griffites with proper support should be able to win that fight. Pistoliers kiting away here, being chased by some of the Centaurs. And are they going to go for any outside pressure? Yeah, you see now he's starting to pressure the back objective. So we do get the Grundle's defenders and the Spearmen. They're going to be heading up to that back point, kind of preparing for the late game here. It's the Blackhorns Ravagers, the Beastmen ROR infantry, continue to try and fight here, but don't think they're going to have a great time versus all this armor. Very good against state trooper equivalents and those type of things, but against the great swords, and I think there's still some here. Yeah, we got 29 great swords still fighting. Going to be tricky. Malagor kind of low too, although I don't think the Empire is going to go for any sort of sniping attempts. And in the middle, the Minotaurs with great weapons are going to pile in, and as long as Supreme targets correctly, does get his glorious Royal Outdoor fights like a square engagement on them with support. Although how they're fighting now is a little bit rough. Although, yeah, they do have Pistoliers coming in. That's nice. So sending in Chaff Cav with your Elite Cav isn't a bad idea. You know, it's going to provide some ablative wounds for them, because some of the Minotaur attacks will be occupied on the Pistoliers, right, which is going to be nice. Volkmar, though, he's a problem here, man. What buffs does he have? So Soulfire Bombardment is activated. That's going to be nuking some of the Haggard Gore Herds here. You can see immediately they take huge casualties, lose like 15 models and a lot of HP. And Volkmar, does he have any other buffs? Shield of Faith and Soulfire. Okay, he doesn't have Benediction or any leadership shenanigans. But the Minotaurs are kind of getting folded up a little bit. They do get Mantle of Gorok, which makes them very, very killy, and that gives them some punchback against the Griffites. Middle point is still in Empire control. Just barely, though. I feel like it's pretty close in that regard. So it's going to be the Griffites and Volkmar here. Griffites, of course, would love a heal, but they don't have any healing on this particular build. Grey Wizard is trying to help, and the back objective is being pressed. We do see those guys moving. Plenty of time for the Empire to get there if they need to. Empire Knights charging in, but the Minotaurs with great weapons trying to detach and hunt them down. Meanwhile, on the back point, this would be the correct play. Get those Empire Knights over there, rear charge the Zangors, and hopefully you can win that. Free Company Militia heading over. Zangors will typically crush Free Company Militia, but combined arms. If the Empire has enough support here, just enough bodies, they should be able to hold their own. We will have to see. Middle objective is in flux, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very dodgy. Empire here fighting. Empire Knights do get caught, and they do start to get chopped up pretty good, so those guys are going to be having a bad time. And now they are going to be fleeing the old scene, so there they go. And Volkmar almost has the route on the Minotaurs. You do have the dreaded ITP, so the terror route not going to be relevant. But that's a big variable for the Empire, the fact that Volkmar won that fight. The back objective should be stabilized by the Free Company Militia. We do get more Pistoliers coming out, Empire Knights as well. He needs to move those Free Company Militia on the objective, though, because they can move and shoot. So move them up to the point, have them support, because if you lose his back point, I mean, this is way too close for the Empire. They cannot afford to lose objectives. It's going to be incredibly tight. Pistoliers plus Free Company should be able to win the 2v1, though. You get the Free Company on the objective, and then you get the Pistoliers behind the Zangors and start shooting them in the back into the Free Companies coming out here. And in the middle, we do get the Royal Altdorf Griffites and Volkmar the Grim heading to the Blackhorns Ravagers. And the Grey Wizard going full Gandalf against Malagor. He does pop a little bit of a debuff here, and the Free Company Militia getting some cost-effective shooting. And towards the back point, the Spearmen are actually detached to recapture the middle, which makes sense. Beastmen still pressuring the back point, so you do see Centaurs coming out, which is very, very troll. And the reason why you do that is to keep the Empire from being able to freely press their back objective, right? It's like taking pressure off the enemy there. So Navi's pulled ahead in value, but with Volkmar healing taken into account, the Empire's still a little bit ahead in this game. But I think that the Beastmen might, I don't know, it's hard to say. Free Company Militia coming, definitely going to put some hurt down to the Gore Herd. Spearmen will lose the Gore Herds pretty decisively. On the back point, Empire owns it. Empire does own the middle objective. So there's, a little, around 2 minutes left, basically, for the Empire to get this dub here. Centaurs arriving, definitely going to be a big problem. Pistoliers going to get bullied in combat by these Centis. That's going to hurt really bad. And yeah, I think this back objective is looking a little bit precarious. The Empire's going to need some heavy armor. Yeah, and we do see the Empire Knights coming over to try and salvage that point. We'll see if they get there in time. That is for sure. So, on the back point, Spearmen fighting it out. Free Company Militia are running, and then we do have the Grundle's Defenders and a Shadowcaster, but Centaur's about to go balls deep here. These guys are going to get a furious charge right here on these guys and do some serious work. So there they go, and a big, big hammering charge right there. That hurts bad. A lot of damage going down. Centaurs are a great counter against Free Company Militia, and the Spearmen are getting bullied as well. Looks like Beastmen are barely going to edge this one out. So the triple cap, aggression at the cost of some value and overextension, it did end up paying off here, I think. I mean, let's see. Empire Knights cruising out here, might be able to stabilize this point. Most likely will with these Spearmen nearby. Middle point is owned by the Empire. Should be kind of safe here. Volkmar going to be heading. He does have 70 seconds, so a minute and 10 seconds to try and get this back objective with the Royal Outdorf Griffites. So maybe like some terror route shenanigans are going to be able to get it done. Korngor's coming out. Very good choice. Because obviously Empire is going to be calling in mobility. It's the only thing that can get there in time. So we're probably going to see Empire Knights called out. Back objective is stabilized. Empire Cav do get there and shut that down. And on the middle, it's looking pretty good for the Empire as well. No threats there. So really, it's just a desperate fight here on the back objective. So now we only have 40 seconds left for the Empire. Korngors are there. Capture weight does belong to the Sons of Sigmar. Royal Altdorf Griffites are chasing down Centaurs. Grey Wizard on the run. And you're not going to be able to terror out Corngors. They have ITP. So, yeah, they're not going to be getting routed off here, and it's going to be pretty good for Chadmar the Grim. So Chadmar trying to fight it out. He's getting the job done and going strong, waving his hammer in the skies and doing it to it. And yeah, 20 seconds left is straight up just not enough time. So GG, well played. This is a really, really good scrappy game. Volkmar does get a beautiful bombardment there. Does some decent damage against the Corngors, but Warherd of the One Eye claims victory. Beastmen versus Empire is definitely Beastmen favored, but not by much. Like maybe 55-45, 60-40. It's winnable for the Empire, but it always makes for one of the best matchups. I love watching it. I like seeing Greatswords do okay. That was fun. Volkmar was good. Huntsman got good value, at least on one of them. I like the Reichsguard Knights. I thought they were fun, but honestly, the Empire Knights just straight up performed better. Interesting. It might have just been a timing thing, but yeah, is the Grey Wizard the right choice? You know, if you are going to be bringing Griffites, it might be worth bringing Regrowth. I don't know. Something to think about. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Beastmen value looking pretty evenly spread across their forces. Centaurs, of course, being menaces. The Butchers of Chadengard getting 2,700, but most of that was against Volkmar, so hard to really gauge their efficacy. All right, folks, catch you later. GG, well played, and we will see you on the other side.